D, and welcome to Mrs. D's Baking TV. Today on my channel, I'm continuing my holiday baking series, I guess you want to call it. And today, I baked for you oatmeal craisin cookies. Now, the original recipe is not mine. It's not mine, but I changed it up a little. I got this particular recipe from a lady who I used to follow on social media. Her name was Terry. I could not find Terry's contact information to tell her I was doing her cookies today. But Terry, if you're watching, thank you for this recipe. So Terry's original recipe calls for Crisco. Well, I don't like using Crisco, so I switched it up a bit and I used Kerrygold butter. The original recipe also called for raisins. Well, since it's the holiday baking series, I figured I would add craisins, which are dried cranberries, right? Why not? So follow along as I show you step by step how to make this delicious oatmeal raisin craisin cookie. The ingredients that you'll need for this recipe are you'll need raisins, cranberries, if you decide to switch it up like I did. You'll need rolled oats. You'll need walnuts. You'll need both brown and white sugar. You'll need coconuts. Now, I toasted my coconuts and my walnuts ahead of time because I wanted to bring out the flavor. You'll need salt, cinnamon, baking soda, unbleached all purpose flour. You'll need eggs. Now, this recipe calls for you to soak your raisins in the egg and vanilla mixture for about an hour before you start mixing your ingredients together. So in this bowl, I've already added my egg mixture with my vanilla extract and my raisins and craisins. So those are all of the ingredients that you'll need. And butter. Now this recipe called for Crisco. I don't like using Crisco, so I am using my favorite Kerrygold unsalted butter. And if I didn't mention it, yes, and you're also going to need some vanilla. Now, I doubled this recipe. That's why you see so many ingredients here. So I've got some Ziploc bags on hand because I'm getting ahead of my holiday baking. So I will be freezing some of this dough. The gadgets that you'll need for this recipe, you'll need a medium-sized scoop, depending on how large you want your cookies. You always need a rubber scraper. You'll need a spatula in order to scoop those hot cookies off of your pan. You'll need a baking sheet. Now, I love using either parchment paper, but today I am using this silicone mat. Yes, it's non-stick and it allows the cookies to simply just rise up off of the pan. And you will need a mixer. Now I'm using my KitchenAid stand mixer, but if you don't have a stand mixer, a hand mixer will work just fine. And the last thing that you'll need that you don't see in this picture, you'll need a cooling rack in order to cool your cookies off after you have removed them from the oven. To get started, take your room temperature butter and add it to your mixer. Remember, your butter and your egg should always be room temperature in order to get a creamy consistency when mixing together your butter and your sugar. And I'm using 2 cups of butter here because I'm doubling this recipe. Slowly add in your brown sugar and your granulated sugar. Normally during the creaming process, you would increase your speed here in order to create air in your cookie dough. But here we're only mixing the sugar and the butter. And add just a little bit of the egg mixture just so that we can cream that butter and sugar together properly. And you want to scrape down your bowl periodically just to be sure that you've creamed all of that butter and sugar. And there you go. That's the consistency that you want, like a thick paste. And then take a whisk and whisk together your flour and all of your spices before adding them to the bowl. And add just a little bit of flour at a time so that you don't create a cloud of flour all over the place when you start your mixer again. And you want to mix this on a medium speed. Then you're going to add in your egg mixture with your raisins and your craisins. You want to get all that delicious vanilla that we had mixed in with our egg mixture. We're going to scrape down our bowl, just making sure before we add our next ingredient that all of our previous ingredients that we added have been mixed in properly. Next, we're going to add our rolled oats. And our coconut flakes and walnuts. And I will do the final mixing together by hand, just to make sure that all of the ingredients at the bottom of the bowl have mixed into my cookie dough properly. You want to allow this cookie dough to rest for about 30 minutes or an hour in the refrigerator. In order to get the cute little uniform cookies, I suggest that you use a medium-sized cookie scoop. And if you don't have this, you can definitely use 2 large spoons. And we're going to place these in our preheated oven to bake for approximately 10 minutes. 10 to 12, depending on your oven if you're cooking with gas or electric. And on my second batch, I decided to do 3 across just so that I can get even more on my pan. If you're not concerned about them baking together, in which you can separate them with the spatula, then I would add at least a dozen to each one of your pans. There we go, our first batch is out. And you want to allow your cookies to stay on your pan for approximately about 2 to 5 minutes before placing them on your cooling rack. And there we go with our second batch. And you see how light in color they are? That last couple of minutes on the baking pan allows them to brown just a little more. And just like that, the cookies are completely cooled. There won't be a taste test today because I am sharing these cookies with someone else. I know how delicious they are, but just let me show you how they baked up. Look at that. You can see both the raisins and the craisins and the oats and all. This, guys, this is a delicious, hearty cookie that I suggest you add to your holiday baking series. Thank you so much for joining me today on my channel. I'm Mrs. D, guys, and I simply love to bake. Please don't forget to thumbs up this video. Also, bake with your family. This is a pretty easy recipe that you can bake with your family, and you guys can have it for dessert for Thanksgiving, Christmas, or just any time. So don't forget, like I said, to thumbs up this video, like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, bake. Be blessed. Bye.